and tell you my experience from when I first started.
Well, Johnny, I love it. I'm so stoked to have you here, buddy. We're doing we do this show 5 days a week at 8:45 live in the mornings and Mountain Standard Time, and then every now and again we get the opportunities to do special episodes for people like yourself that our normal time frames don't work for. And so, we're trying to accommodate people, and we've had people from all over the world on the show, and it's such a blessing. And so this is going to be another blessing for the show today to have you on, and I am so excited. Now you're up in the Seattle area, correct?
I am, yes. I reside right here in Mill Creek, Washington, and right there to the Seattle office based in Linwood.
How close are you to the office up there?
Shoot, I'm like 7 minutes away, dog. So close.
Yeah,
right down the street.
That's a beautiful thing. So hopefully you're taking advantage of it the same way that Dan Edlund is,
Oh, yeah.
And that's honestly one of my goals. I want to get business moving so good here in Salt Lake, and that, so that we deserve to have ourselves a Nagic Kangen water store here.
Yes, you do.
A few minutes down the road from me. That would be beautiful. But so anyway, brother, I want to get into this, man. I'm excited to hear your story, and so I want to just start right out with the question that I ask everybody right out of the chute, because it's always the thing I'm most intrigued by, is how, when, and why did you get involved with Kangen water? And were you a skeptic when you first heard about it, like I was?
Right. So my life coach. So I'm pretty straightforward with this. So I'm in recovery. I got three years and 5 months going strong. And my life coach through recovery, he I trusted him big time, and he was talking about this, kind of special water. It just like mentioned the name Kangen water. And at first it wasn't so much that I was like, like skeptic, like, yeah, right. But when he would kind of describe it and explain just what it was about, it was intriguing. So I was just like, really, maybe, okay. So then finally, he invited me to, well, he would invite me, and, he would never pressure me or anything like that. And then he's like, yeah, well, why don't you come to dinner at the spaghetti factory in Linwood? And I told him, I was like, yeah, okay, all right, I can do that. So that day I actually had gotten let go from a job in Linwood at Seattle Coffee Gear. And I was like really upset. And I was just like really putting a lot of pressure on the company to like promote me, and the manager didn't like that. Anyway, so I called him. I was like, Kyle, man, I just got fired, man. And I didn't sound like that excited about it. I was just like, dude, I just got fired, right? so he's like, well, he's just like, it's not getting, because I didn't like that job at all. I hated it. I could not stand it. And he's just like, John, it's not a bad thing getting fired from a bad job, a job you don't like. I'm just like, shoot, man, what am I gonna do? And he's just like, well, come, you still coming? Because I had already planned on coming to the spaghetti factory before this happened. And so I was like, well, I'll be there tonight. And then like, I was like happy about that. I was like, it felt good. It felt good to go and do something. So literally later that evening, I got dressed nice, and I went and I met Steve, and we went there, and I met a bunch of people, and the room was full, and Carlos Gonzalez was giving the presentation. Yeah. So Carlos, he started on his thing, and then the slideshow, and I just looked. I just kept seeing how, all the facts, and I was like, wow, maybe this is something real. Like maybe this is something I should look into a little bit more. But pretty much after I had seen that, actually, I was on board. Like in my mind, I had my mind up for the health part of it. And then because I knew Kyle did it as, a business too. So I drank a little bit of the water that evening there, but I didn't feel anything, because I know someone brought in a machine, I think, to hook up in the back. But I didn't really feel it too much then. But later that week or that next week, when I went to the office in Linwood and I really, really drank it, I felt this like, this is what I tell people. I felt like this like Zen moment of this like ding of this like little like, you know, those bells they have. Just my mind and my clarity. It was amazing.
So let me ask you a question real quick. Did you actually drink the water, like getting it and taking it home and drinking it over a day or two, and then get a chance to actually drink it fresh right out of the machine?
Yes, so that very first day was when I drank it fresh out of the machine
So,
at the office.
how would you describe that? I see how you just mentioned that. I'd like
Yeah.
to, because I always tell people you really should be drinking this water right out of the machine.
Yes.
And that's why you need your own machine, is because you should be
Yep.
drinking it right out of the machine, you know.
Yep.
And so how would you describe that? Would you say I'm full of it, or would you say that's correct?
No, it's 100% true. That's the very, very best way to drink it, because that's where the abundance of hydrogen is. And so, like I said, I just felt this moment of like immense. This is for me. This is how I felt. One sec. Hold on. That's how I felt. I felt just this peace, this serenity, whatever you want to call it. And then he would send me home with water, so I was drinking it for months. And I actually wasn't able to invest till like a year later, just because that's how I just, you know, it was a priority, but then I had a lot of other things going on. But the more I thought about it, I was just like, dude, I got to take action on this. I got to take action on this. And I could have done it sooner. But anyway, so yeah, so I was able to drink the water for a long time, and he just kept meeting me. He just kept meeting me, and you know, and thank God for that, and bless him, because you know I really got a chance to feel it. And yeah, of course, my sleep was better. I wasn't like a super unhealthy person. I didn't have a lot of health ailments, but man, my energy, that was the thing. Like my just like my mind and my body, it just felt so clean and clear.
So your life coach he's also your sponsor.
Right. So he actually passed away. Yeah, and that was really hard. That was a really tough one to deal with. So getting through that, it just, you know, it to touch base on that, yeah, that just gave me the biggest drive, because I actually lost my mom a few months before that, which made, you know, that year, 2017 or 2018, it made it, you know, pretty tough. But I knew then and there, you know, I had to take this thing. I had to keep going, keep running with it, because, you know, for him, for his honor and everything he stood for, and then for myself. So his dad actually became my sponsor, who started a little later when he took over his son's Kyle's business. Wow. So yeah, so it's definitely something that I'm honored to do. It's not just for myself, you know.
So you weren't really a skeptic. You were more just kind of like, who knows, you know, maybe I'll check it out, and you did.
Right.
And so you were utilizing the water, and that's pretty much what made you decide to get on board. How would you equate that out to like other people that might be looking at this with a skeptical eye, and or they're curious, or they're like, oh, I can't afford it right now, or it's too expensive, or you know the typical things that we hear from people. What would your advice be, or your suggestions be, to people like that were kind of in your same situation?
Definitely. So I think that a person's limiting belief in something can always be addressed. I truly feel like no matter where they came from, and I've run into people and talked to people who, mostly this one guy a few weeks ago, he's just like, dude, this is not real, blah, 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 blah. And I was just very, very, very like polite and very calm and very like still compassionate, right? because we don't want to get to the point to where we're getting upset, because there's always another person to go share this with. But what my biggest challenge is like running into trying to not convince but show this to like alpha males at the gym, or like younger like alpha males, because they think they know everything about their health. They think they got it, and you know, there's nothing like this can exist in life or whatever. It's snake oil, this and this and this. But when you break it down, so when you break it down to people, and you just work with them, and you know, meet them where they're at, and you tell them, you know, you ask them, it's like, what if this, and I'm getting better at this too, because, you know, in the past I'd be like, all right, man, no worries, it's all good, you know, take care. But now I can't do that. If everyone tells me that, then, you know, I'm never going to get it across. So my biggest thing now is just working with people and saying, what if this is something that could change your life? What if this is something that will literally make your mind and your body feel amazing? Wouldn't you want to look into it? And if you could look into it, and if you were willing, let me share water with you for a month, for 30 days for free. I'll bring it to you. And at the end of those 30 days, if you feel different, we can look into it a little bit closer. So by phrasing it like that, and you know, you could tear down the biggest, you know, like, it seems like it's a plan, right? Like biggest jack person or whoever, it doesn't matter, because no matter who it is, if they're skeptical about it, you know, we have to take the approach and the opportunity, actually, really. So those are the people we really need to help the most, because they're the ones who are less willing to really take their health seriously, in my eyes.
Well, you know, that's the truth too, brother, because those people that are really against it, like I had a friend of mine who told me he tried the 21-day trial, and because I do a 21-day trial with people, and he did the 21-day trial, and at the end of the 21 days, I went back out there to see how he was doing and such, and he told me, yeah, Jay, I gotta level with you. The only reason I did it is because I wanted to prove to the world what a scam artist you were.
Oh, wow.
And he said, I gotta back off because you were right.
Nice.
You saved my life.
Nice.
You saved my leg. And I'm
Yep.
like, I didn't. You're the one who did. You're the one who,
Yeah.
you're the one who made the wise choice to start drinking the water. I didn't save anything. I just told you about it. You know, that's all I do. I'm just here to be a messenger.
Yep.
And so, yeah, you know, but he's very much sold on the water now and still working on the process. He's going to be a lot like you were. It's going to take him a year or maybe two before he decides to go ahead and get a machine. But he's lucky. He's got one of my friends that is a mutual friend that lives right close to him and can get him water every couple of days, or he can go get it and all that kind of stuff. And you know, so it's only a matter of time, right? Before people that are drinking this water decide that it's time to get it.
Yep.
Give us a little insight into that. Give us some more, you know, maybe for my brother Dennis, that, you know, what would you say to him that's much better now that you've got it on your own countertop and you're drinking it fresh out of the machine? And was it worth it?
Yeah, it was. You know, people are like, over 100%. That's just extra, dude. It's 1,000,000%, 1,000,000,000% extra freaking better. Awesome, man. Having it down in my kitchen when I first got it, dude, I was so happy. And during the time where you know, Kyle wasn't with us anymore, thank God. Like God said, you know, for me, this is for me, my higher power, my God, he finds a way with our will too, as our choice. You know, we find a way, right, if we're doing the right thing in life. And my old first friend from high school, his mom had one, and I knew she had one. So I asked him, I was just like, Carolyn, can I, you know, come and get some water from you? Cause she knew what happened with him and everything. And she knew how much I love the water. Cause that was it, man. Like during that first year, I think there was 1 or 2 times, like I didn't get water like when I was like supposed to. I was lazy. That was like the one time, and I like regretted it because I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna get some tap water and I'm just gonna boil it, and you know, just boil it. It'll be fine. dude, I got the worst stomach ache. I just felt it was just like, yeah. And so I was just like, dude, don't do that again. It's like telling myself. So yeah, so then finally getting my two, and thank God for Amanda Bobatil. I want to mention her. So she's my other success coach along with Steve. So I got two big forces helping me, and then Sam Tran and Dan Edlin and Liz, and the residual support from everybody around the office. So she found a way for me to get my machine, and we actually have the same birthday, me and her. I told her that I was getting to know her, and yeah, so we've gotten close, and she's helped me, and she's helping me now in a big way. And so yeah, so once I got that machine financed, and she helped me figure that out, man, I was so blessed, because it, at first we see that price tag, and we're just like, ew, that's just what, people's brains short out. Some people, and they're just like, dude, that's too expensive for a water filter. It's like, dude, they don't understand. It's not a water filter. It's not even a water enhancer. It's one of the top 3 greatest inventions in the entire history of the human race, right? So yeah, so having it, having that right downstairs in your kitchen, it's just, man, it's priceless. You can say it's $100,000, you could say it's $1 million, and it'll still be undervalued in my eyes.
Yeah, that's I'm curious. You say one of the top 3 inventions.
Yep.
What would you say the other 2 would be?
Fire and the will, man.
When did man invent fire?
Well, we harnessed it. Let's say that. We harnessed it.
That is classic, dude. I love it. That's right going on the introduction to this show when it gets shared out. It's going on there, man.
Right up there. Fire in the wheel, buddy. Talking water machine, fire in the wheel.
So you ended up gawking at the price of the machine, which I don't know. I'm wondering if I'd like to see if there's anybody out there who, when they found out that it was, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, that they didn't kind of go, whoa.
Sure.
And so how did you go about handling that yourself mentally? How did you end up getting over that and going, it's worth it? What was your thought process? What led you to make it happen?
So when it was funny. So like I didn't know all the intricacies of getting into the business at first. So like one day I was at Kyle's house, and he was just like, yeah, you got to buy the machine first. Because we were talking about the business side of it. I was just like, oh, it's like, okay. Just like, we just got to figure it out. So one of my things now that like is literally a daily drive is telling myself, whatever it takes, right? You got to do whatever it takes. And at first that can be a challenge. But yeah, so I mean, the value was built. That's it. To put it simply, the value was built. And that's why when we bring people into our office and we do the demos and we show them, it's just like, look, we want to show you something, for us in ourselves, in our minds. It's like, we're trying to show this to people. It's like, there's the one side and then the other side, health or unhealth, right? And this is the equalizer. So if they want that and they see that, and we show them, like I was shown for myself, the value of it, it's almost like, even if they don't buy it then, and once they see that, and hopefully they don't forget about it, because it's so groundbreaking seeing that, the demo and the information, that's, some point in time, that pain is going to get so great to where they're just like, I got to get one of these. And that's why we keep up with people. That's why we keep it relevant, the relevancy. We don't want to let people go and just think that one demo is the follow-up, man. You got to follow up with people. You got to, because they don't always, you know, humans, myself, everybody, we can do one thing and there's so much like sensory going on around us that the next thing is going to come and like, oh, well, maybe this is better. Or maybe this machine, because it costs less, is going to do a little bit, you know, it's going to do the same thing. It's not. There's no other machine that they've invented. Maybe in like 10, 15, 20 years, they'll come close, maybe a little bit. But we have the technology, you know, so it's worth it. And I think I heard some, I don't know who it was, scientists or engineers, they took the machine apart, they took it apart, and they're like, yeah, this machine's really, the retail value should be $56,000 or $50,000 or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's 3,000 to 4,200, whatever. That's on sale, man. It's on sale. It's always going to be on sale. Cheap. It's cheap.
Hey man, you know, once you understand the value of this machine, you know, and like I always tell people, you want to buy my machine? Sure, $15,000, it's yours.
Yep.
That's the only way you're getting it. Otherwise, you can get one from the company for 5 or 4.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, real quickly, because he's in the room, I want to give him a chance to bust in on this part of the discussion.
Yes.
Because quite frankly, out of everybody that I've talked to in the 3 years almost that I've been in this business, I don't think I've ever found anybody that's been able to literally spell out the value the way our brother Dan Edlund does.
That's right.
So Dan, I was wondering if you might chime in a little bit on this part of the discussion and you know, maybe just give a little bit in that regard, the value of this thing.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. This is a unusual time for the show, but I saw Jonathan was coming on, and I wanted to come on here and support him. You know, we've been watching Jonathan's journey from day one, and was so proud to see him at the office the other day. So I just wanted to say that to him on here. But you know, it's really, really hard to have a conversation about that because, you know, I think back to my initial, you know, when you guys were just having that conversation of, where you said, well, you initially scoffed at the money. And I just remember that feeling in the pit of my stomach, along with laughter, when I heard it, like, are you out of your mind? And, you know, and I use a good analogy with people now. And I tell them, I said, listen, I understand the sticker shock, but let me tell you this, 3 weeks after drinking that water, if I came to you and said, will you sell it back to me for $1,000 profit? Every single one of you is going to say yes. However, if I add the little tidbit of, but you can't drink the water for 2 years, no one's going to sell it. And they won't. I mean, there's no price for my machine. I mean, I can't even, I don't remember 4 hours in the last 4.5 years without Kangen water. I think it's about the longest I've ever gone is 4 or 5 hours. And I've been all over the world, Indonesia, Mexico, everywhere. Never traveled without it, never been without it. But I can't even imagine. I just can't even imagine. I mean, and there's to put myself back into that, because here's the thing with Kangen water is people don't even realize. I tell people, they go, yeah, but you know, it's just, you know, I think I feel all right. And I tell people, you don't even remember what it was like to feel good. Well, but yeah, but I kind of feel okay. But you don't remember what your potential is. You know what I mean? That's the thing with me is I feel so much better than I ever remembered before. And that's where the value comes from, because, you know, we get, you know, we bathe in the chlorine and we take in the contaminants and we do this and we do that. And we just slowly get removed from the person that we were, right? We become complacent with being less than. And most people don't think of it as living a less than life. But the reality is if they drink this water for 2 or 3 weeks and go back to what they're doing, they'll get a real wake up call.
That's right.
Yeah. Amen, brother. Amen. Hey, Steve, what would you throw in there along the value line? Because I'm sure you had the same sticker shock that all of us had when you first heard about it. What's your little tidbit to throw in here in this part of the discussion?
I mean, just listening to, hearing Dan talk, you know, back when he was introduced, and it really just gets me thinking about back when Carlos shared this with me. And I mean, again, just like Jonathan, I was all in from the very first demo. My first one was the Spaghetti Factory 2. First day I drank the water, I was sold. First demo I saw, I was sold. I was actually doing bartending and catering gigs at a high-end restaurant. in a very prestigious neighborhood here in Seattle at the time. And I was doing all right. I was making just shy of six figures, in a restaurant job. I wasn't too stressed out in that regard, but I was spending most of my money. I was just blowing most of my money. I was either going to the casino or I was buying clothes or whatever, and I didn't really have much of a vision. So the sticker shock to me, it wasn't really sticker shock. It was just that I didn't have the money in that moment. And I, being at that time incapable of saving money, it was, I just really didn't see a way that I could come up with it. Actually, the in-house financing program is what got me in. I thought that was actually doable. I can come up with. Carlos said, hey, if you're willing to do this business, then you're willing to do whatever it takes to come up with $1,000 to get your machine. And we see a lot of people in the business. I focus now more on the recruiting for the business. And when you're recruiting for the business, you're going to run into a lot more people that don't have money because they wouldn't be looking for a business in the first place, right? So yeah, you're going to come across a lot more enagic financing or, some of the alternative financing options like what Amanda Bobbitt offers and some of the other financing companies for lower credit scores, no credit scores, etc. So that was really my draw. I mean, honestly, I think Carlos did a tremendous job of building the value for me. First of all, he just gave me the water. He didn't tell me anything about it. I asked him about it. I overheard him talking at the gym to all these people. I'm sure it was on purpose. But he would have these conversations in front of me, knowing him now. But he gave me the water. I drank it, and when I asked him about it, he didn't answer any question. He said, "Let me buy you dinner." I'm not going to say no to that. And I didn't even know what I was walking into. It was just, I walk into the spaghetti factory. There's a room with like 50 other people. And that was that. The presentation, we all know speaks for itself. So like I said, just an excellent job of prospecting. And I believe now that I've been part of this business for, 5 years, Carlos and I were friends for a couple months before the water even. We had the same kind of relationship Jonathan and Kyle did, actually. He was like a life coach mentor. He was actually a sponsor in a spiritual program. And I believe that he had his eye on me for a while, probably, and he'd identified something in me that he wanted for his business. And he waited till the time was right. And when I started asking the right questions, he had the right responses. And I think that's just important. And that's one of the things that Jonathan possesses that I think is so powerful. And, earlier, a couple things I just want to mention. He gave a sample invitation a few minutes ago. And I don't know if you caught it or not, or if you wrote it down, but it was spectacular. The other thing about it was smooth as silk. It just rolled off his tongue. It sounded exactly like something that it was completely congruent with Jonathan's personality. And it was probably one of the best inviting scripts I've ever heard, delivered probably better than I've ever heard. And there's no wonder why Jonathan has consistently over the last, 12 weeks, consistently had attendance at every single event.
Awesome.
And
speaking of that,
that's all you need. That's all you need to do this. But that's all you need.
Yeah. And so I love that. And speaking of that, this is a great part to transition into the next thing that I'm really curious about from Jonathan, because he just did that presentation last Saturday, and I'd like him to kind of give us a little bit of a, when you first got the water, started drinking the water and stuff, did you imagine yourself doing that kind of thing? And how did it all end up building up to the point where you're standing in front of 30 or 40 people and you're actually telling them about this? And, is this something that you ever pictured yourself doing? Because the reason I ask this, John, is because there's a lot of people out there who they'll get this water and stuff, and they'll go, oh, I can't sell anything. I don't want anything to do with the business. I can't. Was that any kind of a thing that went through your mind? Were you in the beginning like, oh, I just want the water, I don't want to tell anybody about it? Or were you like into the business right from the shoot? Did it all build to that? And then, you know, the presentation that you gave last Saturday, give us a little bit of an insight into your mindset, will you please?
Right. So that's a very, very awesome question you're asking. So I didn't graduate high school. I didn't graduate college. I have a GED, right? So I'll throw that out there real quick. So that's a very, very limiting thing, right? If you don't have an education, or it just depends. It depends. So I also work at Boeing, and I'm head compliance coordinator for the 777X final assembly program. So thank God for that, because that's been my workhorse. Okay. But it doesn't matter. No matter how much I love that job, I don't want to be there for 30 years. There's people we call lifers there. They're there for 10, 20, 30 years. And, you know, no matter what they give me, management, which looks like that, you know, will be happening probably this year, looking like it, which is huge. That's a huge thing, right? So I got real blessed and real lucky with that, because I've been able to do my Kangen water business while having like literally one of the most amazing careers, going up on these jumbo jets doing this compliance work. So I'm very blessed with that. But with that said, like I said, you know, I don't want to be there forever. And I knew even before I got hired at Boeing, because I started with an Magic, or started drinking the water and everything before I even knew I was going to work at Boeing. I saw the people and the success stories, and I told myself, I said, man, dude, you can do this. There's no reason you can't do this. So it was just finding a way. How am I going to get from where I'm at that point in time to do that? So one part of that is just never quitting. I'm huge. That's my thing. Team never quit right here. Right. And then just building the tools, like self-investment. So I started listening to Jordan Belfort, you know, hanging around with Steve and Kyle, and doing the farmers market, watching videos, Amanda Bobbitt's videos, you know, just a lot self-development. Reading the book, How to Make Friends and Influence Others, Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. All right, so real quick, so Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. So I've gone over that book 3 times on Audible in the past month and a half, and that is literally one of the most powerful books you'll ever read in your entire life. Because this is what he says, you're either selling or you're being sold on something. So it's like, you know, and he breaks it down. So it's like your kids, right? Your kid wants, your like daughter wants to get her ears pierced, or your son wants, you know, Xbox or whatever. Dude, they'll just keep pounding at you, and just like breaking you down, and just like, you know, and in their minds, they go from the like, okay, well, this didn't work, so I'm gonna try a different way. So it's almost like, if you take that concept and you like make that professional, and you make that concept like super refined, you can get what you want, man. That's what I want. I want a life where I can get what I want while helping as many people as I can along the way. Not just going through and, you know, knocking people over, you know, as your ascent comes up, like, you know, a lot of corporate jobs, we have, you know, out there. And so, yeah, so then it became a reality once I really like saw, you know, what Steve was doing and his success, and like I really understood it, and Dan's, and I was just like, dude, I want this. And then, you know, working with Amanda and all her amazing training and everything, and so yeah, so then with the inviting people, I just got real serious about it in myself. I was like, Jonathan, you got to do this. You got to be persistent. You have to be persistent, but in a very, very refined, professional, like drip way. But when the dripping doesn't work, you got to pour in them a little bit. You got to bring them in. You got to wake them up, because, you know, it's their health. If people want to take their health seriously, they're going to come watch this. They're going to come look at this. so yeah, and then, you know, I took the initiative. So about a month ago, we had an open spot, and, you know, it was a big deal. Yesterday was a big deal for me because it opened the door. I was like, wow, I can do this again. This is my next level. This is my next level. That's the other thing. When we take things to the next level and then the next and the next, that's where success comes. Because if I let that fear sink in, because I told myself, I was like, man, dude, I'm only going to do this one time. Like, even like this last week, I was like, I'm only going to do this once. That's it. But I knew that wasn't going to be the case. But we have those moments of self-doubt. And when those moments of self-doubt come in, you just got to knock them out. You just got to push through that fear, because literally the hardest part of any success is getting past that fear, processing it. And it's real. I mean, I know, you know, people say, you know, fear is just false, or false evidence appearing real. I don't always agree with that. I think that if you're in the wilderness and there's a bear, a tiger out there, you know, that you better freaking pay attention to that fear. That's a real huge fear you better address. And just like in life, you know, if you're not swimming, you're gonna sink. If you're not pushing forward and you're not staying on top of it, going 10x, 100x, whatever you want to call it, you're gonna be miserable working that 9 to 5 for 8 hours for 30 years. Shoot, I ain't gonna do that. So yeah, so for me, it was just not quitting and pushing through that fear, just being consistent, man, being consistent.
Well, the word around the street is that you did a fantastic job, and yeah, it would have been really neat to be there and see that. And I'm sure you did awesome, just based on you know what I've seen of you between here and the trainings that you've been in with Steve and that kind of thing, and just kind of guy you are. And you've got high energy, and
thank you.
And a lot of times that's a big part of being able to be successful with something like this. And so I want to ask you another question, and who knows where this will lead, probably back to the same area, but this is something I always love asking, and you may have already pretty much answered this with what you already said, but you know, I always love to ask people this question. You know, you got 30 seconds, man. You're in the grocery store line with somebody that's buying bottled water or something like that, or just something. You know, they're wearing some nice clothes, or I don't know, whatever. You got 30 seconds, and somehow you're thinking that this is a person that you need to, like, give them a little tidbit. What is that tidbit that you give them? What's your go-to move?
Right. So I think one of the biggest things we can leverage is compliments, because you got to break into the conversation. If I go up to someone, I'll be like, well, it just depends, dude. Just be like, do you drink that water? Is that you drink that water a lot? Is that what you normally buy? You can do that. You can do that. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. But it's not a usual thing, right? To go prospect people for, you know, to go in a store and do that. But that's what we do. We have to do it, you know. Leads are the way of life. So
Sam Tran, of course.
Yeah. So but yeah, so for me, it would definitely go along the lines of something like, wow, I really like that coat. Like, where'd you get that? And I did that once actually at a gas station. Just like, oh, thanks, man. So when you give somebody a compliment, you know, people love hearing that. And I genuinely, like, if like, let's say that guy had a nice coat, because I saw his coat and I was just like, that is a nice coat, dude. All right, let's go. I don't want to, like, I'm a very, very, like, honest person. I feel like I try to be. So I don't like, you know, like, or be like, hey, man, do I know you from somewhere or something like that? It's like, we don't want to do that. But yeah, so start with a compliment and start with like, oh man, have you heard the, like, and I just saw something on Facebook about them, you know, and it's not just in Washington state, just around the area. They're trying to ban plastic bottles. They already did it with the straws. Like, man, hey, have you heard the new legislative initiative to ban plastic bottles? Have you heard about that? So when you do that tone, the tonality, and be like, have you? And they'll be like, their brain, they want to listen. They're just like, oh, really? And just really? Just like, yeah, man, dude, it's happening. And the reason I mention this is because I am a I am a distributor, or I own a global, however you want to put it, in a medical device company that makes anti-aging water, makes anti-oxidizing, anti-aging water, and we're trying to get away from the plastic. We're trying to get people away from that because it is very, very unhealthy for you. Why don't I get your number? I'll send you a little bit more information. Again, there with the tonality, there with the energy. Because if you're going in there and you're like, your attitude's not great, or however you want to put it, and I don't always have 10 out of 10 days. I try to keep it 100 as much as I can. But so yeah, just going in there with the good energy, the right approach with people, and they'll give you their number, man. I've gotten dozens of numbers, dozens. And now for me, it's just like, since my skills are getting better, because that's the start, you get the number and you gotta move them along the process, So yeah, there's a lot of different ways. At the gym, it's really pretty easy. You just, people have bottled water. It's like, what kind of water you drink? Bam. Yeah, so it just depends. It just depends on where you are, what the situation is, and how you read people.
I love that. That's one of the things I love so much about asking that question is we get so many great tidbits, little golden nuggets that we can use in the process, because these shows are meant not only for people that are already involved with Kangen water, but also for people that are not. Yep. And so, when they hear the stories of success of other people, they, especially young guys like you, you're, how many years young are you, by the way?
Yeah, I'm 34 years old, man.
34 years young, dude. You ain't 34 years old.
34 years young. I feel like I'm 25, sir. Sometimes, and sometimes I feel like I'm 60. Not physically, just my mind, my sageness I have to me sometimes, sir.
I always love to say I was 19 years old when I had my last time clock punching job, and now I'm 54 years young. And,
yep.
So I believe I really feel like I'm getting younger every year. If I'm not getting younger here, I'm definitely getting younger here.
Love it, man. Keep it young hustlers.
Yeah, don't ever grow old, man. Stay young. You need to stay young. That's the key to having a good, healthy, fun life. And so I definitely try to get people to go that direction with things. And
for sure, yeah.
So yeah, man, what an awesome story, brother. I really love you coming in and sharing all that with us. And as you know, as a lot of people know that have come to this show, and people that have seen it, they know that one of my big things around here is I want to resonate. I want to get people who resonate with each other to like hook up.
Yep.
Whoever they may be. It doesn't matter to me. I've said this a million times. I don't care where people get their machine from. I'm more concerned that they get it. Yeah. I figure that there's plenty of people out there, and there's enough of them that are going to buy them from me. And if there's somebody out there that was thinking about buying it from me, but they see you and they're like, I like that guy better, they want to get it from you, fine, get it from him. Just get it.
Get it.
That's the key. Get the machine.
Somebody.
The thing is, if somebody wants to get their machine from you, they want to work with you, they want to get mentored by you, they love your style, and they want to work with you. There's only one way that they can do that, and that is if they know how to get a hold of you.
Yes.
And so I want to give you an opportunity here to give away whatever information you would like to give to people about how they can reach you, what they, whether that's phone numbers, emails, websites, Facebook, whatever. This is your opportunity to tell all the world how the heck they can get a hold of Sebastian Candelario and work with them. So, go ahead and give everybody whatever information you'd like to give, will you, buddy?
Sure. So I have a Facebook, business Facebook page, Electrics, ELETRIX. Then it's H2O, Electrics H2O, or my name, John Sebastian Candelario on Facebook. My number is 425-263-0447, and my email is jonscande@hotmail.com. And that's the thing, like for me, I love helping people. And I love making this available. And what a better way to help people with their health, because I do recovery support with people too. I go to some panels, and I went to this outreach program in Snohomish County for people in there doing this divergence program for, you know, to try to do better. And the reason I mention that is because if you take somebody who's at a level of, you know, they're just starting over, they're trying, or they're not out of it, out of a life, of negative life, or somebody at the very, very, very high end of the spectrum. We're all people. There's no one person that's better than anybody. Yes, we are on different levels, but I love helping everyone. It doesn't matter, because with Kangen water, it's so new, and Advocate, it's so new. Only so many people know about it. It's gonna affect and benefit that person down, you know, down and out, whatever you want to call it, is as much physically and hopefully spiritually, whatever, at some point in time than anybody else doing, you know, making six figures, making a bunch of money, very successful. It doesn't matter. We're all people. We all deserve healthy, amazing, you know, not just water, you know, the healthiest water on the planet you're ever going to drink. We all deserve that. So I'm always, you know, looking out for the little guy, big guy, doesn't matter. I'm all inclusive. I love seeing people's success. I love people, you know, seeing that smile on people's faces of they're just like, man, they smile because they're just like, dude, they're just like thanking you. It's like, thank you. It's like, all right, how can I thank you enough, you know? So good, man.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man, your smile, it is infectious, and you know, your personality, and you know, you're going to definitely rock the world along with the rest of us. And it's really exciting to have young people like you on board, man. I mean, I think that it's such a great blessing when I get to have people like you come on board that are willing to come and share their story, because there's so many people out there that are in your, you know, your neck of the woods per se in life. And a lot of them don't have any vision. They don't have any desire. They are happy, or, you know, they're not necessarily happy, but they're going about their 9 to 5, and they don't feel like they can do anything better, and they don't feel like there's much of anything that, you know, they're just like going along to get along. And you ask them how their day is going, and they go, oh, just another day in the neighborhood, you know, that kind of thing. And so that kind of brings me to the last thing I'd like to ask you.
Yes.
For that kind of person that, you know, maybe you were even in his shoes, her shoes a time back. What would you say? What kind of advice? You may have already given that, but, you know, knowing you'll come up with some more golden nuggets here to spur these people on. But, you know, as far as giving these people who may be in that particular kind of situation where they just don't really feel like they can do it. They don't really, they're just like, yeah, I could never do that. You know, it's all I can do to get up in the morning and go to my job, and I could just never do that kind of thing. Whatever, maybe you were there, maybe you weren't, but what would you give to that person in your neck of the woods who is feeling that way? What kind of advice or what kind of encouragement would you offer them?
Right. So one thing I tell people, I say, you know, man, you gotta, like, I think this is one big thing for recovery, because when you get a dialogue going with people who are just getting sober, or, you know, you gotta light that fire in their heart sometimes, you know. So I tell them, I was like, you gotta light that fire in your heart, man. You gotta search in your soul and pull out that storm. As a man, you know, or a woman, it doesn't matter. We're human. But I feel as men, you know, we have a responsibility to protect and to take charge and to put, you know, make life around us as amazing as possible. We have that responsibility as men, 100%. You know, call it whatever you want. That's true. And you know, women to back us up and be leaders and be caring and supportive and give that love that we cannot receive from anyone else but God. So I tell them, you know, you really have to think about it like this. When you were a kid, when you had those dreams, what happened? What happened along the way? you know, and I can tell them, I was like, it's straight up society sometimes, man, or your parents or whatever, your limiting beliefs that you were raised with about abundance, about money doesn't grow on trees, or, you know, you'll never do that, or man, that's so much money, or like, you know, because there's people who it gets so bad that dude, they're not just gonna say like one thing because, well, this doesn't work with me because there's no one in this world that literally, like, I'm just saying this is full confidence that's gonna tear my dreams away from me. But how do you get to that point? You know, I wasn't always like that. But there's people in this world who won't just stop with one thing. They'll try to tear you down because they want to pull you down to right where they are. So for me and the people I'm around now, we do the opposite. We build people up. We build people from the ground up, and we say, you know what? I know it. I know how you're feeling because I've been there too. And that's true. Dude, I wasn't just been there at 9 to 5. Dude, I was down. Because when I wasn't doing good, dude, man, it was, you know, that was not a good story. So for me, just waking up, just realizing that, hey, you know what? Yeah, that success might not come overnight because it's not going to. But if I just keep, because I told my son this yesterday, I said to him, I was like, Troy, you know, like, you got to think of it like this, little man. Like, if you want, and it's not just about money, it's about the freedom and having your time. If you want something that big in life, you're going to have to put something that big in life yourself. You're going to have to just keep putting things out there, just your efforts. You got to go 10x, whatever you want to call it. So I guess the best thing to say about that question is that, you know, dream big. What is your why? Don't lose that passion for life you had when you were younger, when you were a kid, when you had your dreams, you know, going for you, because you can have that. It's just, you got to find a vehicle, man. Like for me, like my dad, like he was even just like, dude, like, you know, your possibilities are endless. Your possibilities are endless with Boeing, man. You should go work down in Florida in their space program. I was just like, yeah, I mean, that would be cool. And that would be, man, I freaking love that. But, you know, I found my vehicle. And whatever it is, if it's Kong Water or Magic, because for me, man, we could pull anybody into this and train them. If they're coachable and they're willing to listen and take the advice, you know, we could turn anybody into killers to crush it. So whatever you do, whatever job, whatever passion you do, if it's, you know, a 17-year-old working at Walmart that, you know, helped me buy, you know, my demo waters, 17 years old. I told him, I was, how old are you? He's like, I'm 17. I was just like, good, man. You keep killing it, man. Keep crushing it. You know, whether it's that or you know, whoever. If you have that drive, if you have that passion for life, you can do anything. You can literally do anything, man. They're putting people in space, and, you know, it's privatizing space tourism, space flights with Virgin Galactic now, and, you know, automated taxi cabs through the future, man. It's coming. So, you know, life's not going to stop. So you better be prepared for it, because, you know, you're gonna get sold. Life's gonna sell you, or you're gonna sell life. So it's, you know, it depends on how you look at things. But take that action, man. You gotta take the action.
Dude, I love it, man. I just absolutely love everything that you've had to say tonight. You know,
Thank you.
every one of these shows that I do, that we're so graced to get guests to come in here and share their knowledge, share their stories. That there's always some golden nuggets that come out of every one of them. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, man, you really rocked the boat tonight. You went big time with all the golden nuggets, and yeah. I'm going to really encourage people. I'm going to encourage all of my team to check out this episode. Check out this guy, this kid. He's a rock star. He's got something special that he's got to say, and you really need to hear it. And I think you're right on the money with what you said right there, that if you have the drive and the passion, you can do anything you want. Right. And you, you know, there's no reason why somebody can't do their 9 to 5 and do this.
Yeah.
And, you know, they might, you know, there's no reason you couldn't be working at the space program and still be doing this too. If that's something that's your passion and your drive. And, you know, I've often said that, you know, there's nothing more powerful to me anyway than having somebody say to me, you saved my life. Thank you.
Yep.
Even though it's not true, I didn't save
Right.
their life. They did, you know. And I get to tell them, you know, that's the cool thing is I get to say back to them, no, I didn't. I didn't save your life. You did. You're
You took
saved.
the action.
I
You
just
did it.
told you something. You know, I just gave you some information. You know, I just
That's right.
shared a blessing with you that was shared with me. And that's all I did. You're the one who made the wise choice. You're the one who decided to do it. And so, you know, all of the stuff that you said here tonight has just been such an incredible blessing. And
Thank you.
you know, you're, as far as the one of the top 3 inventions, you know, you're definitely one of the top 3 shows that's ever taken
Thank
place
you.
here on the Kong Family Show, buddy. I mean, people
Thank
need to
you.
hear this. We got to get this out there. And so I'm so blessed and thankful that you took the time tonight on a Sunday evening when you could have been doing so many other things to come and
Honored.
share this with the family.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can see Rodgar up there. He's up in Canada, and I know I could just tell he's loving it because now he's up there close to the screen. He's not laying back anymore. You know, and because he's done that, I want to ask him, hey, Rodgar, you got anything you want to ask or anything you want to say to John here?
I would just want to say thank you for the show. It was very interesting.
Sure, man. Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming on, man. Awesome.
I love it.
Love it.
Yeah, it's always woody woo. Yeah, so that John and Rodgar and his sweetie, they're up there in Canada.
Nice.
And so, you know, we get people from all over the place that are jumping in here on the show, and we've got people on the live side that are listening in, and you know, and then this is getting recorded, and I'll get it up onto the YouTube channel and
love it. Love it.
do it. And you know, they're always public. Nothing ever gets. I don't believe in doing any kind of editing because I want this show to come from the heart.
Need to be real.
And I want it to be real. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming in tonight, John. That was really fantastic. I learned a bunch of great stuff. I got to get that book, Sell or Be Sold. I've got to get that.
Good one, man.
I want to read that. And
So good.
and you know, that's the thing about this. We say that I've had several people say on here that this company offers a life improvement plan with a compensation plan.
That's right.
And it really does. I know my life has been altered so much by the people that I've come in contact with, people like you and Steve and Dan and Sam and Amanda, and you know, just so many people that are out there that have helped and continue to help. And it's really fascinating. And we just, I'm sure that you're going to reiterate this. Do yourselves a favor, kids. Make a wise choice. At the very least, take a look. Take a look. Don't think you know anything, because you don't really know much of anything. And as soon as you think you know everything, that's when you find out you really don't know a dang thing.
Yep.
But do yourselves a favor. Look at this company. Would you agree with that, John?
Oh, 100%. At least take a look, man. Get that free water trial, 21, 30 days. It's free. We'll give people water free for a month. Whatever it takes, you know. So just, yeah, I'm so blessed. Thank you for having me. When you invited me, I was just like, yeah, all right, sure, I'll do it. You know, willingness, right? Taking the action points, because, you know, I don't want to be there on like my, you know, last like part of my life. I'm like, oh man, I should have done this. Oh, I wish I would have done that. And you know, that ain't gonna happen. So yeah, take action, keep pushing forward, do whatever it takes, find any excuse to win every single day of your life. The lions, the gazelles out there in Africa, dude, they don't get to take a break. They got to fight for their lives. The lions got to eat. The gazelles got to run. You fight for your life. You know, we got to do the same thing. Take that action.
Dude, I love it. Right to the very end, dropping golden nuggets on us, man. Thank you so much. You know what? We are the Kong family, and we're here to change the world, and we're doing it. One glass of hydrogen-rich, oxygen-saturated, incredibly hydrating Kangen 9.5 at a time. One lightning bolt in a box. One incredible, amazing, exciting guest. One informative show. One amazing family at a time. You guys, get out there, change the world, starting with your own. And of course, do not forget your hugs. Have your hugs, kids. Love you guys so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks to everybody on the live
Thank you,
side.
JJ. Thank you, Jonathan. Love you guys. Appreciate you.
Love you too, guys.
Bless.
Take care.
Thanks again, you guys. Have a great evening, and blow it up next week, man. Make it happen.
Yep, let's do it.
We'll be there right along with you. Thanks
Sounds
again,
good.
John.
Take
Have
care.
a great
Yep.
one, buddy. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Woo-hoo! Oh, I love it.
What was the book? What was the book called?
It was called Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to get that book. I highly recommend that everybody get that book.
Same here.
So I'm gonna get it. I'm going to Amazon and get that baby ordered in, and add it to the stacks of books that I need to read.
There you go.
All right,
Thanks,
Brett.
man.
Have a great one.
You too, man.
Love
Bye-bye.
you, buddy. Bye
Love
for
you.
now. See you, Corolla. Love you, honey. Woody woo.
There you go.